Oh boy, we back 2 weeks in a row. That's what I'm talking about. Consistency, my brother, the real Dwayne Allen. How y'all feeling?
Not bad. It's cold outside, but making it happen.
Yeah, man. One thing is, let's see, we've been doing this for about what 11 years, going on 11 years. I had to rock the 10th anniversary shirt, just came in the mail. Uh,
No, it
but
came out great. Look at that. It's nice and red. Show that in the camera.
hey,
Look at that.
hey, man, shout out to you as always for the designs. Uh, get your teammates that can do it all. But you've always been the real Dwayne Allen. If you go back in the archives, you can see I had a name change, sorta. But somebody else had a name change this past week. As of now, his name is Gunther.
His name is Walter. God dang it!
Houston, we have a problem.
What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, what it is?
What's going
What's
on,
happening,
brother?
Hey man, we gotta get brother Hugh. He's a dancing machine. I put him up against anybody. I've seen it in person. I've seen him win plenty of contests, whether it's
Yep.
at parties or the Orioles game. We gotta get him to do the Be More two step to the intro. Maybe the next intro. He could be in the video. You know how shows do like those. You know how videos be.
Yep, I can
Big
see it.
brother. But yeah, man. So
I feel like you like to do the be more two step like in your seat as you listen to the song. That's the vibe I'm getting. And if I was a guesser, you probably like, you know who would look good doing this on camera? And you talk about brother Hugh. That's just me though.
yeah, he could do it better than me because but yeah, man. Yeah, new name change for the former NXT UK champion, somebody who I want to see wrestle like some big matches on the main roster on NXT 2.0. I don't care. He hasn't had a bad match, but you said you're gonna still call him Walter today, so I guess we're
His
gonna call him
name
Walter.
is Walter. It's going to be Walter. The fans are going to cause an uproar like they did with the Viking Raiders. His name is going to be Walter.
Hey man, they still had Raiders, but they was the bike experience.
They really called him the Viking. Like, nah.
No, so I'll never forget. I was listening to Conrad and Pritchard after that happened, right? And Conrad said, "Look, I know we don't talk about current
Current
stuff,
stuff.
here,
Yep.
but what the heck is up with the Viking experience?" And yeah, you think it's gonna be enough backlash, huh?
I hope so. You never know, but I hope it's enough. Like, come on now. If certain things, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, he don't need a fresh coat of paint on him. He's Walter. We haven't seen him in NXT that much. We see him at takeovers, every once in a while. And we saw him on NXT UK. You don't need to change his name. Him being there by itself full time is already special.
Right.
Certain things you just don't need to change. That's just stupid. Stupid.
Feel like an angry rant. This is like the
Nah, 'cause-
season one.
Listen to me. I'm always one for trying to go beyond what I feel and go beyond my personal opinion. That's what we do on the show. It's not just about what we like. We don't not columnists, right? But certain things are just like, nah, bro, we ain't doing that. That's one of the things we ain't doing. That's just stupid. Don't mess up a good thing. His name is Walter. I think the funniest thing is somebody, everybody tripping over the name change, but then somebody pulled up an old tweet of Chris Jericho that said Walter's got to be the dumbest name in wrestling. And it was obviously an old tweet, but still.
Yeah.
I'm used to calling him Walter. His name is Walter. That's how I say it to myself. Therefore, I don't know why. I just when I see him like that, I just in my mind I picture him saying that, even though he doesn't even talk like that. His name is Walter.
They better not change their music.
I haven't even got to that part yet. Like I don't even like I'm still living over the stupid name change. Like I'm not even what I'm saying is I'm not even focused on the music. Forget the music. I don't give a crap about the music at this point. Let's start with the name first. That's stupid. Don't change it. That's dumb. Like I gotta go to Ringside Collectibles and I gotta get my Walter exclusive Ringside action figure before they start changing his name and putting it on merchandise. That's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Maybe it methods to the madness, and they may have a plan. All that good stuff. That's fine. I can admit to all that good stuff. Whatever. I don't care. His name is Walter. We just got him full time to the States, and then y'all just taking away all around. Like, come on now, cut it out. It's not necessary.
That's it. That's the name of the show.
There you go. Bam. See how we just do that? That's the magic of what we do.
You know, I was thinking of that. I said, God dang it, we record on Thursday. All falls to me. That means we coming out on Black Friday. Now you might say, "What's Black Friday?" Black Friday, folks, is the day that all the black is really every Friday. That's when all the black wrestling podcasts come out.
Or I have no idea.
Shout out to the homies, man. Shout out to the homies. Yeah, we're gonna invade, we're gonna come in that rotation. But it was just funny. I was just thinking, like, hey,
Ryan H look like
what? Oh man. Oh crap. What happened? All right, so one of us is having bad audio. It's probably me.
It's definitely you.
Yeah, what'd you say?
I was having a whole conversation. I said we about 6 minutes and 43 seconds into it, and Brian H is already having technical issues with the bad audio. I kept the fans entertained while you were gone.
I'll tell you the truth. But yeah, man. All right, let's hope this gets together. It ain't raining outside or snowing. I never want to be busy. Want to be real busy today.
Just having one of those days, but it's okay because the macho realness is always here to chip in. Yeah, dig it.
Yeah, but yeah, I think obviously a lot of people are upset. My thing is always, if you was gonna change it, why didn't you just change it in the beginning? Don't get us used to this guy. Like you said, come to the States. Don't get us used to this guy.
Wow, I hope we weren't talking at the same time because you were talking and you blacked out, and I was talking about the Elimination Chamber episode from the Ruthless Aggression show. So this is going to be fun as this edited. We're going to see who went out and who didn't.
Yeah,
but you were saying something, so we'll pick up where you left off. But I was just letting the fans know that's what I'm watching currently as we do this. As we do the show, I'm watching that episode. It's on mute, so you can't hear it, but it's putting my mind in the right place it needs to be. And also talking about the Ruthless Aggression series on the network. Okay. It's the episode about new innovations that they talking about, like the Elimination Chamber and the Money in the Bank ladder match, stuff like that. So it's taking me back, so I'm enjoying it. It's putting me in the right mindset to talk a little wrestling. Yeah. I don't know if I made that clear, but it's gonna be a whole lot of macho realness in 2022.
Hey, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you.
Like I just want to make it like, let me make it very clear to macho realness because it's gonna appear whenever he wants to. Yeah.
But I was basically saying, like, if they was gonna change Walter's name, why didn't they do it right away?
It's just they're stupid. I listen. There's a lot going on right now, and I try to stay out of it as a fan because they don't have nothing to do with me. But it has something to do with me when you change somebody's name. Come on, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Walter. His name is Walter. And then all of a sudden, you change his name. Like, nah, you ain't changing nothing. I'm not with that. Hopefully, the fans uproar. Like I want him to go to the events and everybody just start chanting Walter. Like I'm not letting it go. And I'm hoping that it's enough outcry. If there's a particular reason why they want to do this, that's going to lead to something. Okay, sure. Even then, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not condoning it by any means. And then you pick an offensive name. Like, come on, bro. That's just negligent. Like you stop other things a part of your brand, but you don't pay enough attention to sit there and associate that type of name with one of your characters. Come on now, that's irresponsible. Do better, WWE, for goodness sake. Yeah, you're changing everything, and we're trying to get used to the changes. Us older guys trying to get used to it, but Hey, listen, there's a line, and you guys are habitually stepping it. You guys have been habitual line crossers. Remember Charlie Murphy today? He crossed the line habitually. He's a habitual line stepper. That's what I'm feeling right now from WWE. Like, listen, man, listen. I'm trying to go along with this. You ain't making it easy for your boy. So, his name is Walter.
Well,
his name is Walter.
I think I'm gonna enter. I'm gonna have to make the clip, do a voiceover, and get. We'll just have to wait and see, brother.
We're just gonna have to wait and see, brother. Yeah,
we say that a lot, especially in the world of wrestling. We gotta wait and see. We gotta wait and see. We gotta wait and see.
Just like I had to wait and see about Shawn Michaels coming back in those doo-doo pants at Elimination Chamber. That was a terrible idea. I almost didn't like that match because of that. And even then, I did not celebrate him winning that title until he changed his outfit.
That's the worst part. The fact that
he ruined that moment by wearing that gear. Like, if he had some original Shawn Michaels gear, that moment probably would have been one of my favorite all-time Shawn Michaels matches and moments. Like, the match was really, really good, and yet I neglected it because of his doo-doo pants.
Has anybody ever asked him about that on record?
They did. They talk about it on one of his DVDs.
Okay, what did he say? Because I forgot.
They said he got to the locker room, and Shawn had just got back, and everybody's so happy to see him in his new attitude, and they knew what they were doing with him, trying to get him going again as one of the top guys. And he, they said he pulled out the side, he's like, "Hey man, what do you guys think about my gear?" And Triple H and all of them like, "Oh yeah, that's cool, sure, man, yeah." They were trying to be polite and be nice since it was his first day back, but they were all looking at him like, "Oh gosh, he's gonna wear those doo-doo pants." Shawn Michaels was trying to show everyone that he changed so much that he even went out his way to change his gear. And I was like, Shawn Michaels, we know you've changed. You don't got to change that part of who you are. Just be Shawn Michaels of old.
Two things he shouldn't have changed: his gear scheme or gear colorways and his music.
Now, see, I'm gonna tell you the match that I know we're getting off subject, but who cares? It's our show. The match I do love is the Elimination Chamber match they had at SummerSlam with Goldberg and Randy Orton and Jericho, because he had the right pants on. That's he actually wore one of my, if not my favorite, Shawn Michaels attire in that match. So I always enjoyed that match. And the crazy part is that's one of the matches I don't like Triple H, because Triple H had that groin injury. He had those compression shorts on.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I was younger, I was like, why has he got them shorts on? It wasn't until got older and found, listened to the documentaries and stuff. He was having groin issues and stuff like that. But
I hate that gear. I understand why you didn't like it, but I didn't hate it compared to doo-doo pants.
Well, nothing compares to doo-doo pants. During that time, I was never, I love change now, but back then I was really like, nope, don't change nothing.
Right.
Everybody knew back in those days. Like, now that I'm older now, I'm like, no, I want to change every day.
How did you feel when Triple H went to the shorts?
What do you mean the shorts?
Remember, like, he was, the pants to the shorts, the tights.
You mean
from pants?
Oh no, I was livid about that too. I didn't like Triple H for like 10 years after that. I lied to you. I'm not exaggerating. I swear to goodness. Like, from late 98, 99, whenever that shift was, he was kind of okay, sure.
Before King of the Ring.
From 99 to about 2005, I was not a Triple H fan.
Mm-hmm.
When did he win? What WrestleMania? What year was WrestleMania 25?
2009.
Okay, yeah, that's around the time I started liking Triple H again, like 2009ish, and I was like, I stopped being petty. Match. I mean, well, it's one of the once again,
I tried it, watching it without thinking about the whole show, right? And just because obviously it was hard to get into it because we had just went through the emotions of Shawn and Taker.
It's a little stale. It's a little stale, just like Roman Reigns versus Triple H for the WWE Championship.
Oh, that was that was bad.
I felt like Triple H was in that match by himself. Like, he was like Roman didn't know how to do it then. Roman now probably would. Roman then.
Could you imagine that match now?
Now it would have so much more drama to it, because Triple H is the older the experienced wrestlers get, the more dramatic they are in the ring, because they just know it. They know the business to that degree. They know how to take their time. They know how to generate expressions. They know how to kind of pull you into it with the little things, the subtle nuances, because Edge is a master at it now. He's that guy now. But I watched Triple H do a lot of those things in that match, and Roman just couldn't keep up with that. Not the athleticism or the actual match itself, but it's those little things that adds the drama to the match that kind of pulls you in. It makes you kind of feel what you're watching. That's why Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25. 25 and 26 are always standouts in people's minds because when you have two vets like that know what they're doing, they knew how to pull you in.
Yeah.
And only greats like Shawn Michaels and Triple H could have had two back-to-back WrestleMania matches like that and really told two different stories.
Mhm.
So, but like I said, I digress.
You brought up SummerSlam, that
Uh-huh.
Elimination Chamber match, and
Yes.
I got an Uncle Mike story. It's been 10 years since he's been gone. I remember,
Oh,
like
freezing
I
on me
watched.
again.
I'm freezing still. I'm still freezing. You know what? Let's see.
But I guess we will find
Yeah.
out. There
Am I
we go.
still freezing?
No, you're in now. Don't worry. I kept the fans entertained. Go ahead.
So, like I said, it brings up an Uncle Mike story, right?
Okay. Good old Uncle Mike stories. These never get old.
Yeah. And what happened was we was he for some reason he like went to sleep the night before, like on pay-per-view live, and I watched it. So the next morning I remember rewatching the tape with him, right?
Uh-huh.
He on the phone. And you remember in the spot Goldberg just takes out everybody, right?
Yes. Yep.
And he goes, whoever he's talking to, he's like, talking about whatever. He looked at he's like, man, that Goldberg, he's a bad mother. Shut your mouth.
Uh-huh.
And I just remember like enjoying that match, and at the time, believe it or not, it was like rooting for Goldberg because we wanted the belt off of Triple H by
Right.
any means
Absolutely.
necessary. And
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Triple H found a way to win that one. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I didn't hate those tights. Now, like you said, the I just thought like, oh, this is pretty cool. I even said if you had a groin injury, wonder why he didn't just go back to the regular pants, But I can understand why you get mad with gear changes.
But you know what though? I think that was a favor for a lot of people. Like that I've as an action figure collector, it's been plenty of renditions of that version of Triple H over the
Really?
years from Jakks Pacific as well as Mattel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, I must be in a minority about that particular gear, but it's like that's like a commemorated gear of Triple H's, like it's special because it was kind of a one-off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it was that Elimination Chamber match was the kind of and he won. He won the World Heavyweight Championship. That was the match that kind of solidified it. But like I've seen action figures made in that gear, and I was like, I remember seeing like what's the deal? Like why they? But I'm in a minority when it comes to that. But yeah, I mean, I think once I kind of got over the fact, and I was like, you know what, Triple H is really that good. I think
they
what
have
happened
Shawn
was
Michaels doo-doo gear in action figures.
I don't think
Chalkline teased it. They teased
I don't
it
think
short.
I don't think they've ever created any Shawn Michaels doo-doo gear action figure gear.
Okay.
I don't think anybody wants that. It was just horrific to go from what he was known for to that.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, come on. Now they did have gear where do you remember his gear that he wore like when he was back on Raw and it wasn't really his it was like he had like HBK going down the side of his pants and then he had on the backside he had HBK and I was like, come on, bro. Like I couldn't even watch him. I was like, I'm not watching this.
Barely.
I didn't watch no Shawn Michaels stuff until we go back to his old gear and I was like, okay, cool. Now we got Shawn Michaels. It definitely wasn't. That was like until like 2003 ish.
Okay.
3 or 4ish, whatever. That's when I was like, okay, this is where I'm back on board with Shawn Michaels because I don't know who the other guy was. Like I get it, man. I appreciate it. You got saved, fell in love with Jesus Christ. It's an amazing feeling. Trust me, I know. But your gear don't got nothing to do with that, buddy. I supported him, Brian H. I did. But I was like, brother, come on, man. If you're gonna be Shawn Michaels, be Shawn Michaels.
Uh-huh.
So, now I will say that was around that shaky time where I really wasn't watching wrestling, and I was hoping he would be the reason I would get like my brother was watching. So like my brother would watch it and I would, pass by and I would look at stuff and it was slowly reeling me back in, but I was being stubborn and purposely protesting like, oh, this is dumb. It's not what I wanted to be, so I'm not watching it. You know what I mean? But slowly, but I would, stay longer and stay longer and stay longer before I'm watching the whole show. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting into this.
Don't let them ruthless aggression babies tell you that.
Man, they think it's the greatest thing since Hogan Andre WrestleMania 3. I had no idea. That's why I heard some Generation Y kids talking about some Man, wrestling phony now, man. I remember the days when Edge, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. I said, wait, what? What are you talking about? That was not the golden age of professional wrestling. They look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, I get it now. Every generation is going to have their whatever you associated with your childhood that made you great. That's what it's going to be.
You got to experience it.
Yeah, I mean, and I really do that. Like, you think about it. When it's one thing to watch professional wrestling, right? But it's one thing to experience professional wrestling. Like I said, I didn't experience wrestling in the late 80s and 90s. You and I are just probably a year and a half apart, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And yet you experienced Hulkamania on a level that I didn't. There's things that you remember vividly that I remember as just me passing by. Simply because you were old enough to comprehend it, and me, I was just watching because my brother was watching it, and it was what it was. So what you be like, oh yeah, 92 and this and that, and I'd be like, bro, I don't remember none of that. Like, I remember it, but I remember it as a 4-year-old.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's not the same in regards to, versus you experience it with the pay-per-views and your mom and your grandmother and all that stuff.
Yeah, shout out to Blue from the Mixed Tag Show watching on Twitch. I was watching the Mid-South DVD with my older cousin. And I bet you I done went out again.
Uh-oh.
I went out again, didn't I?
No, you was good. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I was watching the Mid-South DVD with my cousin, and he's like showing me Mr. Wrestling 2 and Magnum TA, right? And this big change, and he breaking it down how the build of that story, right? Now I'm sitting there watching the tapes, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool, but I'm not gonna have that same emotional connection.
You know why? Because you didn't experience it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you watched
I wasn't
it.
there. Mm-hmm. Like when I remember going to school, and me and brother Hugh was in middle school together. Going to school to him, talking about, because he had cable on this, he would tell me like the results of Raw. That's the experience. Not so much as watching it on TV. The experience is, like one of my first memories of before the Wrestling Realm. I think this is like literally we was in the class for 1 month, and I remember calling you because I was working that day, and it was when Triple H and Undertaker. We talked about it earlier before WrestleMania 27, and you was like, "Yo, go back and watch that." Because they had a moment in the ring. I don't know if you remember this conversation, but you was like, go back and watch, because they told a story with their promo leading into WrestleMania, and it was little stuff like that. But that experience of not just watching it, but, now it's us doing podcasts, us getting on Twitter. We can remember the night, this might be controversial to say, but like I remember the night when John Cena won the WWE Championship, being on Twitter, and it was the same night that the U.S. did what they did with Bin Laden, right? And seeing this take over on Twitter, and then later on finding a video clip where John Cena had told the crowd, it's like these different experiences you get just watching this stuff live, man. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's just the biggest thing. And everybody has their own version of that. You know what I mean? No matter what generation you're in, no matter what you remember the most, no matter what you experienced the most, that's what you're going to hold to. That's what's going to affect you in a way. It's very few. There's few and far in between, of younger guys that are like, oh nah, I need Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm sitting next to him right now. He's the only 16-year-old I know that his favorite wrestler is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Simply because I'm not allowed to not do, but he literally watches old stuff though. He watches, like, he'll watch old boxing, like study it. He'll watch old football and study it. Like he got an old soul. But that's a rarity though. That's not your average kid. And he grew up on other stuff. He grew up on his generation too. But if you catch him slipping, like you go mind your business and you come in a random room, you're gonna hear Stone Cold's glass shattering. You know what I mean? Yeah. More than anything, because that's what he's watching, So don't get me wrong. It's not completely impossible. But I just think that when you have eras, sometimes what you experience can kind of outweigh what you actually watch. Because I watch old, even the stuff, like I said, you and I probably a year and a half apart. The stuff that you watch, I look back at it, I'm like, it was cool, but it don't hit me the same. And those are some of your most prized possessions when it comes to your memories. You know what I mean? So it's to me that's just what you
It's like when I
experience.
talk about Bret Hart,
Yeah.
and I think as much as I love Bret Hart, he's one of those you had to be there people, unless you're into that style of wrestling, right? People look at stuff as, oh, he's boring and this, that, and the other. But
No.
Bret had you invested, right? And I'll tell people, they say, well, what Bret Hart match should I watch? And I say 92 SummerSlam. I probably watched that match, I kid you not, 100 times, right?
Uh-huh.
And I still watch it and still get like the same excitement. Like, wow, this is a phenomenal match, like back and forth. But even though I didn't see it live as a 4, 5, 6-year-old, I remember waiting for WWF superstars the following week to figure out who won. And it's like it just takes me back to 1992.
Right. But you know what though? I'll even do you one better. The new generation, the WWF new generation, that era.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell me nothing.
Right.
Like, and guess what though? That was a down period in the business. I didn't know that as a kid. You couldn't tell me nothing about wrestling in the early to mid 90s. Right. Like to this day, that era is looked down upon. It's looked at as the prequel to what will become the biggest wrestling boom in professional wrestling history. But during that time, financially, the business was in a bad space. WCW wasn't doing that great, and neither was the WWF. WCW would eventually take off and just explode out the gate, right? But before then, when you had Bret, Shawn, Razor, Diesel, Vader.
Oh man. You there? Or maybe
So it's like what people would consider, what people would consider a down period in the business, to me, was one of the greatest periods, because when I say you couldn't tell me nothing about Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart during that era, the crazy part is I watched it as a kid, didn't pay much mind to it, but then when I went back to it, right, when I started getting back into wrestling, and you only had wrestling on Mondays, 2 shows on Mondays, even before you had a show on Fridays, you had Mondays and Saturdays, and pay-per-views on Sundays and Sunday Night Heat, man, like I would go back to that era, and I would just go back and I would really experience it in a way, and I was like, bro, this stuff was tough. This stuff was like exactly what I was really into. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, depending on what their era of professional wrestling is. Now, somehow I ended up on this show by myself, but that is okay, because you're going to hear what I got to say about it. This is the first rendition of what you would consider Realness Reacts. I'm going to react to the fact that Brian H. is no longer on this show. Why? Because his computer probably signed out. That's all right, though. I don't even have to run down, but he's going to keep going. So, there he is. Look at him. He just came back.
I'll be right back. Continue. Hold the fort.
Oh, here we go. Here, Realness Reacts. Here's what I think about people who, it's like, no, that's not what this is about. This is about what we in the wrestling journalist business call shooting from the hip. I don't know if it's actually called that, but that's what I decided to call it. So I'm watching this Ruthless Aggression era series on Peacock, and it's definitely taking me back to a lot of the good stuff that I kind of miss. And it's funny because we complain about a lot of these things, but that 2005-ish, 2006-ish, 2007-ish era was probably one of some of my fondest eras for a lot of reasons, because I began to invest a lot in superstars that kind of were coming up, like Randy Orton, Shelton Benjamin. Like I'm watching Shelton Benjamin beat Chris Jericho for the Intercontinental Championship. When I say I was a huge Shelton Benjamin fan, I was a huge Shelton Benjamin fan. Like I was so big of a Shelton Benjamin fan. I was so disappointed when he didn't turn the corner and kind of turned into a main event guy. I felt like it was nothing he couldn't do in the ring. I was never a big fan of his when he was a part of Team Angle. or even the world's greatest tag team. But when he kind of emerged, in 2004, 2005-ish era, on his own, I mean, Shelton, you couldn't tell me anything about Shelton Benjamin. He was one of my favorites. But him beating Chris Jericho, him.
Matt, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm talking to the fans about Shelton Benjamin. I went back to this ruthless aggression era. So let me finish before you interrupt. Brian Ace is back, ladies and gentlemen. He's got to re-put stuff back on. There it is. I remember when Shelton Benjamin got cut and he came back, or when I saw Shelton Benjamin in Ring of Honor. And he grabbed the microphone. I was so thoroughly disappointed because I thought in my mind Shelton Benjamin was going to get himself together and come back and rule the WWE. Now he didn't go on to do that. He stayed in Ring of Honor for a little bit. He went back. He went to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He had his time over there, and he eventually made his way back. And I think he's doing excellent right now. I'm glad it was his position in the company. Older guy trying to help these younger dudes get over. He's been in a number of different tag teams, but Shelton Benjamin was the guy doing the ruthless aggression area. Okay, so I just interrupted our show to talk about that, but it's all good though.
No, I'm glad you talked about that because I want to know what you think about. We're gonna segue.
I didn't have the rundown in front of me, so I would have kept going without you. But I was like, well, we're gonna talk about what I'm watching right now.
This is what we do. We talk wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we give a platform. And I'm pretty sure people there's always you can always relate to somebody. But you brought up Shelton Benjamin, the Hurt Business.
Yes,
Bobby Lashley ain't having it. They wanted to come back, and now you see him and Cedric kind of like interrupting everything. It's like, okay, you forgetting where you come from. So they keep beating him up every time. How do you do you see this being? Do you see somehow them interrupting the championship match, or do you maybe see this being a big swerve down the line?
Honestly, I don't know. I would love for it to be a swerve.
Yeah.
Because I'm really glad that they're involved. That they didn't just throw them back, just doing whatever they were doing to random matches on main event. I'm glad that I think that there's an interesting twist in the dynamic that you can probably add to this. That would make everything make sense. Yeah. So let me break it down. No pun intended. so like the Hurt Business, like you said, let's go back to Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander kind of split. They went their own way, but then we saw them kind of come back together. We watched them reemerge and where were they? Was that Saudi or were they in Jeddah?
When they I don't know. That's a good
was it Crown Jewel? I don't want to be offensive. Okay.
Probably.
You can't call one Middle Eastern country another. That's offensive.
We don't want to do that.
But I remember I want to say Crown Jewel when Bobby Lashley faced Goldberg.
Yeah, I do know that.
Which was a phenomenal match. It was a perfect type of match for that. It was a dream match. You know what I mean?
That was in Raya.
Was it?
Rada? Yeah.
Okay.
October 21st.
But it was Crown Jewel though, right?
Yeah, it was Crown Jewel. 22,000 capacity crowd. 22. Man, Vince McMahon was great.
I remember. No, yeah, you can't go wrong with the Vince McMahon announcement, especially over a crowd. I remember watching that. It was a dream come true. But then we watched the Hurt Business kind of reunite. Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander came out there, and they kind of made their presence known, and they helped Bobby Lashley. We were kind of like, oh snap, the Hurt Business is getting back together. So we saw Cedric and Shelton Benjamin together a lot, but we didn't really see them with Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley kind of continued on his quest to his singles run, and I was okay with this kind of we're together, but we don't have to be on TV every week style. And because I think AEW does a great job with it now with the Inner Circle. You know what I mean? They're still the Inner Circle, but it doesn't mean they got to be with each other. It's kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like, we know who we are. We don't gotta be involved with everything that we each other do. Vice versa. So I thought we were getting that with the Hurt Business, but it was kind of just this weird twist because all of a sudden it was just Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander and then Black and Gold, and Bobby Lashley was doing his own thing. And then it was finally addressed. They finally said, hey man, I thought we were kind of getting back together. And Bobby's like, nah, I don't need the Hurt Business. There is no Hurt Business. But to me, the Hurt Business has gone on because it's Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. That's their tag team now. Yeah. And I like that idea. Now, the swerve to me is why are they involving them in this story? To me, as a wrestling enthusiast, when I see something like that, I'm assuming, okay, well, they never do anything for the sake of doing it. It's got to be a reason, right? So my first thing is to say, let me figure out what that reason is. So if I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, okay, well, they're constantly going back to these two guys involved with Bobby Lashley on more than one occasion. Sure, it could be a one-off. It could be a two-off. At the end of the day, it's like, yo, so what are we doing with these guys in the mix of all of this? So we need a reason for Brock Lesnar to lose at Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah.
Somebody got shocked over Brock losing.
You should why you mute?
Nah, he was like, "Oh, you got Brock losing?" I was like, "Nah." On my show. No, you're on a podcast.
Man, Brock losing. Tell him I got Brock losing.
Look, they was ready to hop on. They thought I was on Clubhouse. They said, "Oh, you in the Clubhouse?" they was ready to hop on. Like he was walking to the kids. Oh, you got Brock losing? Nah, brother. Nah.
Next week we do Royal Rumble predictions. Gotta get them on.
Oh, yeah, we can pull them in. Trust me. So it would make sense if you have if you don't want Brock Lesnar to lose cleanly to Bobby Lashley, which he doesn't have to. You know what I mean? He could say, okay, cool. All right, I lost. Clearly they cheated, but I got bigger fish to fry. You know what I mean? And then I think the fact that they're always teasing at that there still may be a Hurt Business reunion, or for some reason the Hurt Business is like, nah, they could be the reason why. They could be the reason why he loses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then maybe he kind of turns the attention away from Brock Lesnar to kind of focus on, those two guys. And if those two guys can be elevated and used in any way, shape, or form, I'm all for it.
Yeah. And Blue, even from the Mixed Tag Show, brought up Brock's relationship with Shelton. That could be another thing.
That's that's another wrinkle. You know what I mean?
We saw that in the Royal Rumble a couple years ago.
I know
they like had a moment. He hugged him. I think, and they tossed him out. It
was very real, and it was very like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
You like stuff like that when you can make those connections where you can kind of bury kayfabe a little bit, like, oh, they acknowledge the fact that they were the Minnesota Wrecking Crew as a tag team, and they acknowledge the fact that they knew each other in amateur wrestling. You know what I mean? So that's always fun. Now, as I stop myself, I'm watching the Ruthless Aggression this episode where my favorite version of Matt freaking Hardy.
Version 1?
No, sir. I hated version 1. This is the Matt Hardy Will Not Dare Die prequel or precursor. With when he was, of course, him and Edge and Lita, my favorite version of Matt Hardy. That just aggressive, balls to the wall, just no F's given. Matt Hardy. Gotta be my favorite version of him. You know what I mean? Like he made me a fan of his that whole moment.
This calls for time travel.
How appropriate.
I mean, you was there because but go ahead. I just had to, we got
So I just want to put it out. But we were talking about the Hurt Business involvement with Bobby Lashley. To me, like I said, it's there for a reason.
It's funny. We've been like all over the place, like bouncing back and forth, and usually I'll be like, but tonight I don't care because it's making sense. You brought up Matt Hardy. Ironically, I was watching his match. The Edge and Jeff Hardy match at the Royal Rumble 2009 when Matt Hardy turned on Jeff,
right,
which led them into WrestleMania.
I was okay with that.
Really?
Listen to me. Man, the Hardys, we could do a whole show on the Hardys. And here's what's got me itchy. This goddamn Ruthless Aggression episode, man. This stuff is good.
It was.
This stuff is good. Like it's taking me back. I'm as they're going over stuff, man. I'm seeing stuff that I remember with Matt and Jeff. That was 2009ish, right? That was right before Jeff Hardy was on his way out the door and we'll head back to TNA and but that era of Matt Hardy was another one of my favorite runs because anything with the Hardys, man, just give it to me. You know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be the best in regards to story, but they're going to deliver in regards to entertainment.
Now, it's funny because as we was talking about WrestleMania 25 earlier, we talked about Triple H and Randy Orton's match. That match between the Hardys, I really enjoyed, and it was like the appetizers before you get to the the main course for me, which was, and I think everybody else that day, that arena, and the rest of the year, Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, right? As I'm watching Matt Hardy the other day, like I remember, like the feeling, right? Being legitimately mad because I was like Jeff Hardy had just won the title, and I
Right.
was like, man, and we talked about those short title reigns get us used to seeing these people with the belt, but I was like, man, come on, man, like it was you, but like that's how good that story was. Like I don't remember thinking about it like how I would think about it from an analytical standpoint, but just as a fan, I can remember being so mad because I was like, now I've always been Team Matt over Team Jeff. Like I'm always been in that minority.
You have been very vivid about that.
Yeah, and there's no disrespect to Jeff. I just always like Matt better. But I remember being like so angry, like how could you do this to your brother? From the fire and the stuff with the dog, and then setting them the fireworks, and like you cost this man, and then out of all people, for it to be Edge, right? Like this the dude that took your woman. And then you gonna turn on your brother for the if it been anybody else, right? But it's like this dude took your woman, so it's like, man, like that was some good stuff right there. You took me there. You brought that up, man. I had to tell a story.
That was a very Vince McMahon hugging Eric Bischoff moment. Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what we call those moments?
No, I think it is because I think that was the one thing that we thought we'd never see. Like that was nowhere in the world. That was a Vince. It was a Vince hugging. A Vince hugging Eric Bischoff moment. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. Did you watch Seth and Bobby this past week?
The match?
Yeah, on Raw.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Solid. Like,
yeah, I mean, just two pros, man. Like it's just the product
Seth
that I'm
Rollins,
watching.
I know this is your guy.
Yes,
is he not the best he's ever been?
Easy. Because he's showing. Like I said, he reminds me a lot of Chris Jericho. He is going to have a lot of longevity in his career because he's able to reinvent himself and be successful at it. Not like reinvent himself and then fall by the wayside. Like I give you a prime example. You remember the one time Billy Gunn tried to reinvent himself, but it just didn't work. Never liked the guy as the one Billy Gunn. I couldn't get with it. You know what I mean? So the reason I say that is we can't take for granted how difficult that process can be to reinvent yourself. Edge did it. But Chris Jericho was the master at it. He constantly did it over and over again. Like what era you're watching when you see what version of Chris Jericho that you're watching. Seth Rollins is knocking on that door. You know what I mean? He has found a way to and his versatility to me is what's going to carry him further into the future because he knows how to evolve. He knows how to be a different version of something going to whatever era. And this version of him is like, he's a main event player without a title. That's not easy to do. You're a superstar when you can be a main event player without a title. Anything Seth Rollins touches is main event level. It is the main event. And I don't literally mean like, the guy that finished the show. I mean like it's a big program. You don't feel like you've been shortchanged or downplayed because you're in a program with Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Like for instance, Edge going from Roman Reigns to Seth Rollins, there was no drop off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Seth Rollins was so intrusive that he's like, I can't even forget the title. I got to deal with you now because you don't want to cost me the title when I had the match won. And to me, one of his best matches I've ever seen him have against Roman Reigns. And to me, in my mind, Roman Reigns was never a technical guy, but what he does now is just so far beyond, what we've seen before. I'm like, man, that's one of my favorite matches from both of these guys. And then of course you got the piece with freaking Seth freaking Rollins. Yeah. So, I mean, I think he's doing his best work right now. I can't get enough of what he brings to the table. He's annoying. He's effective. Like he just gets it. If you ask me, you know what I mean. So,
I honestly hate this saying, but I'm about to say it. Doesn't need the title. Seth Rollins doesn't need the title.
He just doesn't.
And the reason why I hate it because like I said, it's the part where I want to believe that everybody wants to be the champion. So that's the reason why I hate that saying. It's like, if you the best in the business, you should have the belt. But to take myself out of that hat and fandom, he's just somebody who's over. I mean, like I said, the Brooklyn crowd, and this was the Monday night crowd. And that was the if I ever seen wrestling fans be like mad, that was we're mad that The Rock didn't come the night before, so we're not going to Raw crowd, right?
Right,
And,
absolutely.
and you know, this is where as Evan Mack calls him Thicky, attacked him. Yeah, and when he came out there though, before all that stuff happened, just the way he do that, and then like how he plays the crowd, and then these ridiculous outfits, right? It's like you can't wait when you hear the music hit because you want to see what he gonna wear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, all right, what's he got on today? And I mean, just like I said, his stuff, the stuff with Edge was my daughter still talk about it. Like, that's the guy who broke in Edge's house. You know, that like that content and the story they was telling. And like, I mean, Edge, just another one, you know, as we get ready for his match and him and Maurice teaming up to go against, I mean, yeah, him and Beth Phoenix teaming up to go against Miz and Maurice.
It's going to be a
like,
banger.
Yeah, like the storytelling. Like,
there you go. I think that's going to be
just
more important than anything.
20 times better than he was. And it was like, he had a great run. Great WWE career. And it was like, okay, if it feel like if that was as good as we're going to get, fine, right? And now 10 years later, he comes back and he's even better. It's like, wow.
Yeah, that's not easy to do. I respect that a lot, man. And I think that's the sign of a superstar. Just to give everybody a heads up, I'm now watching the Ruthless Aggression area with the resurrection of Shawn Michaels. So it's on now.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, boy.
Oh, speaking of Ruthless Aggression.
See, I'm on fire right now. Like I got all the right segues.
I was playing SmackDown versus Raw 2006 and 2007 today.
That was a good one. I think that might have been which one's my favorite?
I liked 06 better because 07 they added them dumb controls. They wanted to switch everything and go to the controller. Now I'm gonna take you back. Shout out to Lil Reese, who when you was doing the football thing, he was on the team, right?
Mm-hmm.
When those games came out, he was elementary, middle school, and I remember.
Now, was that the first one that had an ECW, or was that 07 that had an ECW?
ECW was 08.
Oh, okay, 08, got
it. That's up next on
the
get back list.
Mm-hmm.
But what was it? 08. But 06 and 07, I remember when they was like, man, they changed the controls. I was like, yo, Reese, they changed the controls. He said, man, I'm gonna just change it back. I said, nah, they made a whole different, like, now you gotta use the analog.
Doesn't work that way, brother.
Yeah, but I was like, yo, these SmackDown vs. Raw series, like on PlayStation, like, I know we talked about video games last week, but like, man, it was phenomenal. And speaking of video games, did you see the trailer for 2K22?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I just watched it about 20 minutes before we went on the air.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to my boy Kahara. He was like, hey man, check this out. And I was like, I'm excited, but I ain't trying to get too excited. The graphics look phenomenal.
Yeah, but there's always that gameplay.
Yeah,
that's what everybody's waiting for.
Yep. I'm ready to see it. I do like,
I'm watching all the Shawn Michaels footage. Just like I'm ready to fight. Like I'm ready to wrestle now. Like I'm ready to jump off one of these couches or something like I used to when I was a kid and do an elbow drop. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm just giving you a heads up. I'm letting you know what I'm doing.
But yeah, I'm excited about that. But you bring up Shawn Michaels. I meant to say this earlier. Chalkline got the WrestleMania 12 pants.
I'm not even wasting my time because every time I try to get anything off Chalkline, it is gone. They sell out like they sneakers. Sneakers go quick.
You got the app?
What app?
They got an app. I'm gonna send it to you. And then
please do.
Yeah, you sign up for the app, you get like 20% off or something. The first order or whatever.
Well, thank you. That's news to me.
Yeah, I'm putting in the Brotherhood.
The Brotherhood.
Yeah, that's but I was like,
they just showing WrestleMania Royal Rumble 98, which we talked about last week. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
I got to give you updates. Go ahead.
Hey, I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. But those I might have to. I might have to grab those. He beat Brett in them. But it's nothing like tuning up the band.
Do you like Bret Hart or not? I can't tell. Like you say things, and I'm like, so are you a fan?
No, I'm a fanatic. But the problem is that his gears that he wore are the ones they lost it that I love. Like I said, they sold the 97. You know, I got the 97 shorts from
Right.
Survivor Series, and I'm like, but the gear was dope. And then it's like, I don't want to like Shawn Michaels gear, but it's dope. And then he beat Brett in that gear.
Do you realize in those eras, in majority of his championship matches, he always wore like white and gold or some type of version of gold and white for those
I don't
championship
think
titles? Type
we
matches?
know, yeah, because he won the Intercontinental title. Who did he beat? Jeff Jarrett in that same gear. Maybe it was a little difference somewhere, but it was
Nah,
white and gold.
that gear was ugly.
Which one?
The one he beat Jeff Jarrett in?
What's the difference?
Oh, there's a huge difference. Trust me.
What's that? Let's see. Shawn Michaels
Yeah, look it up.
beats Jeff Jarrett 95.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I thought it was the same thing. Now looking, what's the difference?
Hold on. Let me confirm.
No, I can.
No, it's cool. No, it's cool. No, it's cool.
I could do a share screen.
Oh, you can do that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pull that. Yeah, pull that up. Pull that up.
Oh, there. No, yeah, there it is.
You've not shared any screen yet. Hold on. Oh, there it is.
Oh, we got. Oh, hold on.
That is not. Look at you. You just.
No, it's the overlays.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's the same gear.
Hold on.
In your house too.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I thought. Wait, no, it's not. No.
Okay.
No, because I think that's what I think. That's what I think it is. You said Jeff Jarrett 95, right?
Mm-hmm. In your house too.
Nope, it's not the same gear. No, it's not. That's what I thought. No, that is not the same gear. That's that.
Oh, that's got more gold in it.
That's got that tiger print. I remember because I remember seeing his wrist gauntlets, and I was like, bro, why has he got? I never liked it when he had the wrist gauntlets that look like that, unless he wore the white, red, or the silver, black, and red zebra pants. See, I'm very particular about Shawn Michaels gear.
Mm-hmm. All this time I thought it was the same thing, but
No. And see, you see how he has those tiger print knee pads? I never liked those. Like, don't wear the knee pads that match the gear with the hearts on them, not the print. You see that? And I know this because I used to be very
specific.
You see, yeah. I used to be very specific when I used to ask for certain wrestling action figures. I'm like, Ma, she has nightmares. I'm like, Ma, I want the Shawn Michaels Series 3 with the blueprints and the zebra print inside the heart, not the Series 2 Shawn Michaels with the all red pants and all red boots. And she'd be like, okay, and then just get me whatever. But still, I was very specific about these things. You couldn't tell me about Shawn Michaels gear. Like,
tell me nothing.
But this is what I'm saying. Oh, this is what I experienced as a kid. 90s Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. Like that was all. Like, I was consumed with that stuff even after the fact when he wasn't wrestling anymore. Even in the height of the Attitude Era, I still used to call back. Like, I used to want Shawn Michaels. The only thing was missing from the Attitude Era in my mind was Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. Bret Hart was in WCW, wasn't the Bret Hart that I knew, and Shawn Michaels was an on-screen character, but of course he wasn't ready to come back to the ring for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
But as a kid, that's why I didn't have enough wrestling action figures as much as I wanted to, but that I always incorporated them into what was going on now, because that was to me, that was the only thing that was missing. And if there was a perfect world in professional wrestling, look, he's wearing that gear right there when he won the title. He went backstage and dapped it up with. You know what I'm saying? That was the one thing that was missing.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm very particular when it comes to Shawn Michaels gear, and I get a whole show of it because it's all about Shawn Michaels, Ruthless Aggression Era.
Yeah, man. Ruthless Aggression Era, it was good times. But I mean, for us too, it was also like life transition, right? So like, I know
it was very transitional for us. It was it's funny because I'm appreciating it now, but I remember complaining a lot back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was transition, but also like think about where you was in life, right? So I know for me, I'm going into high school, actually getting out. It's like because the Attitude Era ended when I was in 10th grade, technically. So it's like 11th grade, 12th grade, going to college. So it's
wait. Time out. Now I got to stop you.
What?
The Attitude Era did not end when you went in the 10th grade.
All right, 9th grade. My bad.
What year were you in the ninth grade? What year was that?
2001. 2000,
Okay.
2001.
Okay, that's fair. There you go. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So I mean, because all right. So you got that in between that everybody era, right? Because it wasn't really ruthless aggression until like 04-ish.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so that transition, I'm talking like 10th grade was when Hogan beat Triple H, and then Undertaker beat Hogan, and you know that's 10th grade. And then during that summer is when Rock beat Undertaker. So if
That
you
was
wanted,
that was post Attitude Era. There was Attitude
yeah,
Era, then there's post Attitude Era, then there's like a little pause, and then there's Ruthless Aggression Era.
mm-hmm.
There's this undefined space in between then, and then we have, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the difference, you know. So like by the time like the ruthless aggression era got going, like I said, I'm in college, you know, and working. So I mean, obviously I'm watching wrestling, but it was, you know, it wasn't like, and I wasn't surrounded by people I could talk about it all the time too either. You know, but shoot, if they would have gave me a mic back then and a podcast, I would have talked about it.
Oh, don't I know it, brother?
But yeah, man. Before we, you know, a couple things to talk about before we get out of here. The Royal Rumble. We got Lita and Charlotte. Now Lita's entering the Royal Rumble. And at first I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, Lita and Charlotte. Oh, that'd be a dope match between those two. But they're entering the Rumble, and Charlotte says she's gonna win so she can handpick her opponent. And then on Raw, you got, you know, obviously like Bianca and Liv Morgan and with Dewdrop facing Becky Lynch. Why can't we just get Lita versus Charlotte at the Rumble?
Well, I think they want to be fair, not to
Okay.
just have a part-timer or someone that just kind of have a special moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Rumble is going to be loaded enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to waste Lita versus Charlotte on a card with Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns
So how you the realness?
and think about it, and Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. That's not fair to them because that's something you don't want to go up against. Like this is not a competition. I'd rather them have another show where they can kind of center it around them because they have done that in the past, where they can hype that as your main event because women have main event and paper. That's where women's wrestling is right now. But it's like, okay, and also you got to remember they're trying to make the women's Royal Rumble match still special because that's still a relatively fresh concept when it comes to the ladies. So you know they want to keep eyes on the Rumble for the ladies because, like I said, they got to keep creating. There's been years and years and years of special moments as far as the guys are concerned, but now that they're still trying to create magic with the women's Royal Rumbles and create those memories that they can continue to use and sell going forward as they try to, you know what I mean.
Yep.
Keep people invested and, you know, so that the women aren't left out and they have their special moments to build their history as far as, you know, the women's Royal Rumble matchup. And it's a perfect way to kind of tease some things without giving it away. Like when we had Trish Stratus and Sasha Banks kind of you know, face off and then
We're
Trish
still
Stratus.
waiting for that match.
But that's the whole point though. We're waiting for it. You know what I mean? They gave us enough of a tease, and the Royal Rumble is the excuse one to not to go full throttle, but just the one you can gauge people's and you know, how do the fans respond to this? Two, what's their chemistry like between the two ladies that we want to go at it? Either we can have a little bit of an exchange and say, okay, well, this isn't, let's not ruin this dream matchup and kind of speculate, but we get a little bit of it. Or we can say, hey, let's gauge where they are with this and see if it works out and they can make a decision going forward. So that was my take on it. That's how I perceived it at the end of the day. I said, well, it makes sense because Lita's not a full-time performer anymore. So they don't want to put that kind of pressure on her because what if she doesn't deliver? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What if it falls flat? Anything can happen. What if the crowd is wiped out because of what they saw previously or what comes after? There's a lot of different moving factors. And it's like, well, you don't want to put them in a bad situation because of that. But it's enough to get you, you know, like, oh, shoot, well, Lita's coming back. And well, that's a match that we haven't seen before. You know, Charlotte has pretty much done everything. She's faced off with all the greats. Let's see her, you know, kind of go toe-to-toe with some of these legends that have legendary careers still intact. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's just, you know, from the outside looking in.
All right, if you book in the final four
Okay.
for the Royal Rumble, who you put in there for the women's Royal Rumble? Put you on the spot.
Charlotte is in it, correct?
Yeah,
Okay. Becky is not.
correct. She's facing Dewdrop, or
Okay.
she. What I hated was she called her doo doo the other night.
Oh, that's not nice.
Becky Lynch for you, ladies and gentlemen.
I think you probably go. Charlotte is in it, correct? I'm trying to make sure I don't get this messed up.
Yeah, Charlotte and Lita are in the Rumble instead of them facing each other.
You probably go. I'm gonna go Bianca.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go Rhea Ripley.
Oh.
I'm gonna go Asuka.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to probably go like Alexa Bliss. So yeah, that's my or not if not Alexa Bliss, maybe like is Bailey healthy? Is she ruled out?
I haven't heard that she's ruled out.
Okay, so I don't know if Bailey's available, and I know Sasha Banks is hurt.
Bailey would be my surprise to come back.
But yeah, I would definitely go with Bianca, Rhea, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss, or maybe Liv Morgan. Yeah, I think that's all the. I think it's not too many young girls that have a lot of momentum going on right now, outside of a Dewdrop or outside of a Liv Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to find one that would make sense that we can kind of say let's enhance, and that we can kind of enhance while trying to put them into the main event picture, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's just me.
I was looking at it, and my first initial thought was Bianca, Mickey, Lita, Charlotte. But then
Bianca, Mickey
James.
Oh, I forgot about Mickey. I don't think they're gonna let her get the final four.
That's the thing. I started thinking about that, and then I'm like, okay, so obviously, if I'm going with that final four, my winner's Bianca, right? Now it's like,
what if Mickey James is in the final and she shows the WrestleMania Impact title?
Oh, like she wins it, and then
what if that would make it wouldn't make any sense for them to go with somebody that's a veteran winning the Rumble? Would that be crazy?
It would be crazy.
That'd put some butts in the seats.
Yeah.
Impact World Champion versus WWE Champion or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but go ahead. You were saying.
So like so that's if I got I had, like I said, like in November and December, I had Sasha. Like if I had the book penciled in, I had Sasha winning the Rumble facing Charlotte. But now she's hurt, so I'm still penciling in Charlotte and Sasha. But if Asuka comes back, Asuka Charlotte 2 is hard to not.
Oh yeah, buddy.
But then again, it's like,
here we go. Survivor Series 2002 doo-doo pants.
Sasha getting that WrestleMania win finally in Dallas, and then it goes to the whole one. That was the first time the women, that whole story. So it's hard to tell, But yeah, I would do I'm gonna say Beyonce. I would have Bianca winning it again, and she would beat Becky Lynch at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that would be great long-term storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
You kidding me?
That's the get back.
I think she deserves that though. I think that makes that loss at SummerSlam worth it.
Mm-hmm. Do she need to win the Royal Rumble though?
Yes, she does. Listen to me. Think about it. That's full circle.
I love it, but
that's Hall of no. Screw somebody. That's Hall of Fame. That's think about it. Brian H. It writes itself.
It does.
Think about it.
HB Kizzle.
For her to lose at SummerSlam, and everybody was mad about it. For her to win a Women's Royal Rumble, which is still relatively new, and then go on to win WrestleMania, you solidified your spot in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, because she'd be the first 2-time winner.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like Shawn Michaels had his 2 times. You know what I mean? Like Austin, like that's a big deal. Like
Austin, Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan,
like
Edge,
you're in a different class.
Triple H. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, man, I think if you tell me right now, well, hey, she lost for a reason because this was a long-term plan going into WrestleMania. This is why wrestling fans need to shut their mouths. Always keep your opinions. Always say what you got to say. But to me, it was like, this is why when everybody said it doesn't make sense, that would make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who wouldn't want to see Becky, Bianca too, especially after everything?
Oh man,
it writes itself. Like usually when you do something, you got to make it make sense.
Yeah.
You don't got to do much for it to make sense in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it's at. I like your idea better than mine.
Well, that's why we the wrestling around, man. Before we get out of here,
Did we stick to the rundown or we just went off center? Like,
no, actually we did. Because I'm about to. I didn't put that much in it this week because I was like, we can keep the show light. Because next week gonna be Royal Rumble.
Okay, I got a light question for you. Do you feel like Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania is underrated?
Most definitely, I think that might be, besides Brett, that might be Shawn Michaels' greatest match.
Why?
No, but see, then there's the Undertaker.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you first before I criticize you.
I gotta look at it.
Unfair.
See, now I'm gonna watch them all again. I got the Shawn Michaels Mr. WrestleMania DVD. One of these days.
That's the match DVD, right?
Yeah. And with the stories before it, one of these days I'm gonna watch those 4 matches or a set of days, right? I'm gonna watch those 4 matches. And then I don't know if I'm gonna get to it before this next show, but yeah, I'm gonna watch those. Now, because that Shawn Michaels Kurt Angle match was special.
It was. Now let me tell you why I didn't watch it. Can you imagine why I didn't watch it? Can you take one guess why I didn't watch it when it went down the way it did?
All right, so that's WrestleMania 21.
Yeah. There's a very specific reason. If you know me, especially when it comes to Shawn Michaels, exactly why I didn't watch that match.
Is that the first when he first started wearing the loose gear?
There you go. See, you know your boy.
Yeah.
You know your boy.
Yeah.
Because all before then he was wearing his regular gear. And then he showed up at WrestleMania like, dude, why is the guy like chaps pants?
He did like this.
I was like, bruh, no. And you know me. At that time, I was not adapted to change at all. Like I was not okay. I was like,
it's funny because I didn't know you then, but I know you then.
Like I was like, nah, bro, we not doing this. I was like, yo, change back to your. Now it grew on me, and I was okay with it. I was able to make the adjustment, and I learned later he went to that style of pants was because he was wearing he had that knee surgery, so he was wearing a big knee brace underneath it. Yeah, same thing with Rey Mysterio. Remember Rey Mysterio wore his, the loose pants when he first debuted in WWE because he had that big knee, that Stone Cold Steve Austin knee brace. Which I respect and I was okay with it, but I remember like it was Shawn Michaels all the way up to that point, and then he just debuted at WrestleMania. I'm like, bro, what is he wearing? So I just want to put that little tidbit on. I know you said we was keeping it light, so I decided I had a little like question for you at the end.
But yeah,
you did a good job though. You knew your boy pretty well. You know exactly why I wasn't watching.
All right, so you watch anything this week?
No. It's like, yeah, of course I did.
Besides what you're watching now, you watching new wrestling?
Of course I did. Yeah, I'm catch a little bit of everything. If I miss anything, I'll go back and watch it. So
a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this.
Yeah, I think AEW had a lot of high points.
Okay.
As far as like I said, they have their moments, man. They really do. On both shows, even though the ratings really aren't showing it. But they definitely have their high spots. But it's just like their highs are highs, but their lows are just they're not really lows, they're just flat to me. Like I can't get into it. Like I'll give you a prime example. When Christian's kind of managing Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy.
Yeah.
Jurassic Express. They call us the Jurassic Express, right?
Yeah, they do.
You call them Jurassic Park, yeah.
I don't like them.
You know what I mean? And there was a moment where Billy Gunn was kind of like, "Hey man, so what do you think about my son's the Gun Club trying to?"
I saw that, and
Chris was looking at him like, "Look, man, your sons are talented, but they haven't even won they haven't won the big thing. They haven't won the big dance chair. Like these guys can't finish. You tell them dudes to make a name for themselves, and then make a statement first, and then come, then come talk to me about going toe to toe with the champs." And then they jumped them. First of all, I love the Gun Club. I love Austin and Colton Gunn. They
Yeah, I
just
know
they
you're huge fans of those.
they just have so much personality. I see so much of their father. And Billy Gunn's one of my all-time favorite guys. Like he was a guy I followed on the Indies. You know, like I would watch Access TV to see if I heard Billy Gunn was going to be on these certain matches and stuff like that. So to see him still wrestling is pretty cool. Also to see his sons, especially Austin. I didn't know too much about Colton until a little bit later. I knew about Austin first, but
Yeah.
the Gun Club, like moments like that are what I like to see. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I watch AEW for the familiar faces, not so much for the younger talent. They have a lot of young talent that I enjoy watching, but to me, it's kind of like TNA. In 2004ish, I looked at TNA because whoever had pretty much got cut that was in WCW, WWF, or ECW that wasn't in the WWE anymore, they all migrated to TNA at some point. And I was still fans of EX Pacs, the Road Dogs, the Conans, the Kevin Nashes, the Scott Halls, the Sean Waltmans, those guys, and then you got guys like the Sandman that periodically popped up, and guys, Jeff Hardy was a big one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching those guys even on smaller television or on the B show or the second show, however you want to look at it. I feel the same way about AEW. Like I don't get to see Christian on a regular basis, so I enjoy seeing Christian. I enjoy seeing Billy Gunn. I enjoy seeing, the Undisputed Era and all that kind of stuff. So those are the moments that kind of pull me in because I just felt like they execute those things really well. The Elite, anything with them, that whole story that they're telling is another thing. The whole thing with CM Punk and and Wardlow and MJF and CM Punk's matches with Shawn Spears. That's the stuff that I really get into because it's the storytelling is there.
Yeah.
It pulls me in. Like I said, it's difficult for me to get into an entire show. But those are the high spots for me personally when it comes to that. Anything with the top guys is always fun and engaging, which I thought, like I said, they're showing signs of of a good wrestling show. Like I said, it's just difficult to get into something. But it's not like I don't like the product at all. It's just I only like pieces of it. If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
No, it definitely makes sense.
It's like trail mix. You know what I mean?
I don't like trail mix.
Well, that's the whole point. Like, but there's things in trail mix that I like though. Like I like peanuts. I like M&Ms.
Nothing.
But I don't like that. I don't want to have raisins and pretzels and all the stuff mixed together. You know what I mean? I go through it. I might pick out the pretzels. I might pick out the M&Ms. I don't want to have raisins and granola and whatever the other stuff is. Like I don't. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. That's how I feel about AEW a lot of times. Not all the time, but just a lot of times when trying to get into it. So.
Yeah, man. Let's see. This week I watched AEW Dark Khan from the Shane Taylor Promotions versus Adam Cole. Solid match. Enjoyed them two going at it. I like Khan. Khan and Moses. I mean, obviously I like them together, but even as individuals, I enjoy watching their matches. Moses was doing some really cool stuff at MCW, and he was challenging for their championship. I think his match with Brian Johnson, the Mecca. They was going, they did this like really dope promo. I ain't go to the show, so I didn't see the match, but the promo alone got me invested, So storytelling. And then also, on the women's wrestling side, I watched Vixen's Wrestling Revolution, and it was Rache Chanel versus Delia Doom, match of the night. Obviously I was watching, getting some stuff for my client. I think everybody knows who that is by now. And I was advised like, yo, check out this match. Like my girl Rache killed it. And they did. So it was great watching that, man. I'm me, I always like watching women's wrestling. But it's just a lot of good stuff out there. I definitely encourage the fans and the wrestlers to let us know about some shows. Got a surprise. I'm gonna reveal this on the show coming up next week on Wrestling for the Culture. We bringing on the leader of the creator of the Nation of African American Wrestling, also known as NAW group on Facebook, Jabari McIntyre.
Why'd you say it like that though?
No, that's what he said.
You said nah.
Like,
You said it
I know
funny,
you
though.
don't be on Facebook too much with the wrestling groups, but yeah,
You
the
said it
group is-
funny, though. You said, nah.
yeah, that's
Also known
That's-
as, nah.
yeah, that's what it is. That's what he said. It's supposed to be like, nah, but yeah,
No,
he
but
was
you said the word nah funny, though. Like, I get it, but you're like, nah.
he's
Like,
like,
why
I
did-
get what you say, but you said it funny.
You said it funny. I was just trying to figure out, like, was there a reason he said it like that in particular?
Nah,
Oh, man. Pun intended. Nah.
bro. But yeah, he's coming on Wrestling for the Culture this
That's
week.
going to be huge, though. I can't wait for that one. That should be a good one.
Yeah, we're gonna talk. Obviously talk about black wrestling in the community, but he was also at Terminus this past was it last week last week.
I got a question. Does he
What a
call
week
it
it
nah or they call it NAW? Or you just call it
It's
nah?
literally N.A.A.W.
I'm saying, but they pronounce it that like
Yeah. Yeah, he
Like-
was, so he was,
like Booker T has reality wrestling. It's Raw, but they don't call it Raw. They just call it. They're like, nah, it's not. We don't call it Raw. It's ROW or it's reality wrestling.
oh, got you. Yeah, no, he called
That's
it
what I was
nah.
asking. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was just
it's-
asking.
Yeah, like it's LLC'd and everything. He got
No,
the
because I
shirts.
didn't think we was trying to make fun of
Oh,
the
nah.
brand, nothing like that. Okay. You keep saying no, like
Because to be honest with you, like to keep it 100, I wouldn't have said it that way if I didn't see like I was watching an interview with him and it was like after I had booked him, I was like, oh, okay, he did another interview. Cool. Let me watch it so I don't be, I don't like to ask the same questions. That's what you call journalism and research, folks. And shout out to Jamel Hill. Obviously I knew this before, but I've heard her like solidify that point.
okay.
And that's what he said. He said, yeah, it's called that. And he said, also known as nah. So yeah.
That's why he said it that way. Okay.
Yeah, it's not, I ain't making fun of it.
I gotta
But,
man, we can't be doing that.
No,
the brothers.
at this point, people know it's all respect around here, around these parts. Oh, shout out to Two Champs from the Big Gold Belt podcast celebrating a birthday today.
Hey, happy
So,
birthday, brother.
Yeah, the brother had, he had us on his show earlier this year. In about hour and a half, my sister Megan will be celebrating her birthday. If you know how old the real Dwayne Allen is, then you know how old she'll be turning.
27.
There you go. Because they both born in that so great year, 1988. So
Which makes us 27.
I just said the number without realizing. But yeah, shout out to her. She'll be celebrating her birthday. I was just gonna finish editing some of her pictures. There she goes. She just texted me back. Okay, thanks. No,
Yeah,
you're supposed
You
more
didn't,
than
you didn't add a whole bunch of contrast to that.
no.
Well, brother, he calls you the contrast king.
Yeah.
That's a Brian Day-
just
that's a
said,
Brian Day
do you
special.
Do you like dried tropical fruit in your trail mix?
See, there you go.
That's Brother Hugh.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I don't like it. Like, don't give me dried out pineapples and stuff. Like, I want my fruit fresh. I don't want it dry. I don't want dry apricots. Are the apricots or apricots? Are the apricots?
I don't know. I ain't like them, so
I don't.
No,
want
you know what? I do like. They have. I think it was what's that thing called? The tasty cakes. The tasty cake pies. I think they had. I think they had an apricot one time. I like. Or something.
I'm sure it wasn't freeze dried either, though.
Right. It was sweet. But
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. Okay. I just thought I'd ask.
Uh-huh.
Since brother, you talk about since brother, you asked. Hey yo.
Oh man.
Oh man. He said you like dry fruits in your Oh man, that's great. Brother. Oh man, that was great.
Oh man. This is gonna be funny. His name is Walter.
His name is Walter. I'm not changing it. I will go to a show and be like, Walter, just to see if people gonna follow in. Not doing that.
Oh man, you best believe people gonna be doing that.
I'm really working hard. Like, yo, I'm reaching out to the people. Like, y'all wanna hijack the show again? We've done it before. We have that kind of power.
But yeah, let's Let's get out of here. Wow, this might be one of our shorter episodes.
Yeah,
Hold
usually
on,
we're pretty long with it. I think your computer was like, nah, not today, buddy.
God always has a ram in the bush.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he about to preach. It's Justin Rich said, call that man Gunther on Twitch.
No. No. I'm sorry. Nah, I can't do it. His name is Walter.
Shout out to everybody who watched on Twitch today.
Appreciate
we'll be
man.
bringing the show live on Twitch.
Yeah, because I'm gonna really finally show Brian H the beauty of WCW versus NWO Revenge and WWF No Mercy. He's not. I feel like he doesn't.
What's on the way?
What's that? What did you order?
You said I had to have 4 games.
Yeah,
one more.
NWO World Tour.
Yeah,
that's what's on the way.
No, I already got that. That came with the system.
All right, okay, hold on. All right, time out. So it's got to be WrestleMania 2000. That's one we haven't talked about.
Yes, sir.
Good. You need to experience that. My thing is, I think you're not getting the full experience because you're playing it by yourself.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. It's much more fun. Like, first of all, Nintendo 64 was a buddy system. That's why I had the 4 controllers. That was revolutionary. Like that was the ultimate party gaming system because that was sleepover time. You got at least 4 buddies on the game.
Yeah.
So if we have 6 or 7 kids at the sleepover or whatever, you don't gotta wait your turn that much for 2-man games. We grew up, in the early years, it was 2-man gang. That was it. Mm-hmm. But Nintendo 64 was the ultimate buddy system. It was the ultimate sleepover party game, and that was it. And I feel like you need to experience playing it with somebody else. So we're gonna get on Twitch. We're gonna play these games. And we're gonna see if you can change your mind about how you feel about those early SmackDown games for PlayStation versus these great Nintendo 64 legendary professional wrestling games in the history of professional wrestling games.
Well, this past weekend we went out, the family, right? We went down to just get out of town. Went down to Virginia, and we stayed in a nice little cottage. And it was me and the boy playing WWF SmackDown 2. And
so wait, you took the PlayStation with you?
Yeah, I took the PlayStation. I know you're saying why you didn't take the 64, but I had
it's easy to travel with PlayStation as far as the hookups.
Yeah, it's more variety of games too.
Yeah, of course.
Because like now, let me tell you, real side note, my daughter was like beating us all and ready to rumble. I don't know what she was doing, but her hands were boom, 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 boom. I'm like, yo,
she still got quick baby fingers. That's why.
Yeah. And I'm like, she's like, oh, then she talking trash. Like she went on I kid you not, a 9-game win streak. Between the 3 of us.
Yeah, I better stop playing with my goddaughter. She said she wasn't there to play no games. Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves, because y'all supposed to be gamers.
Look, yeah, the wife was like, you know what? Nah, I'm good. I don't mess with y'all.
Look, she ain't want no smoke.
Yeah, she played once. Ariana beat her once. Boom, and she was out of there. 1, 2, 3.
Dang.
But, and finally, it took a while, but I finally got her. But so we was playing that. We played SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth. But and then In Your House and WrestleMania arcade game. But I was sitting there.
2 games I enjoy them because of the box art.
Okay, yeah, box art was definitely hot.
As soon as you turn the game on, you're like, I'm ready to move on.
You know what? It's like Battlegrounds.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Because that's what I was explaining to my son. I was like, it's like Battlegrounds was. Battlegrounds was that, that hack smash or whatever. And that's what WrestleMania, the arcade game, was. And In Your House. But, we was playing SmackDown too. We was like creating players and did the season mode. And I was like, oh, man. These cutscenes now, a lot of it didn't make sense because they were showing you everybody's storyline back then, whether it was the user or not. But man, brought back some memories, I tell you. But you keep saying about this No Mercy, and I still play it. Don't get me wrong, because the game is nice. I like it. I ain't stupid, but I just like SmackDown better.
Okay.
But yeah, but like I said, I was playing 06, and I think I was like, wow, these SmackDown Raw versus Raw series was great. Creating a title. I'm almost ready to get on and do something on Twitch and like every day get to playing and maybe create some Wrestling Realm stuff and fans. But I think the 2K series, 22 was bad, but 2K19 is like a classic. 20 was bad, but 2K Yeah, 19 was like, one of the all-time classics. So.
Right.
That's why if you ever notice in WWE, they still got the poster to that one, like with AJ Styles. They ain't showing the 20. They don't want to believe that game existed. But all right, any last thoughts before we get out of here?
His name is Walter.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just gonna keep you right where you're at right now.
That's what it was. That was my last thought.
They gave him the Dusty. No, baby, that's for somebody else. Gonna keep it right where you're at right now.
Should have kept his name right where it was at. How about that? How about that for a Dusty?
Oh man. But all right, folks, we about to get out of here. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate y'all. Until the next time, too sweet.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!